Well,
So,
speaking of animals, and because they brought this, I happen to have this, and y'all aren't going to be able to see it because my thing, but I've got a picture here of Tony with his bulldog, and I'm showing it now, Tony. It's you on a what looks like a wood floor, but it seems that it is concrete, correct? Colored concrete, and he's got that
Yeah,
look
that's stamped.
stamped concrete, and I've even got a picture of how he does that. But look at that little dog there. Doesn't that look like Tony?
Tony, so is your dog got a shaven body, Tony? Is that?
Yeah. No, but he's a little bulldog. He's awful cute.
Got a shaving body? No.
It's kind of like is that
Yeah,
your
he gets shaved every now and then, but
that's your little logo, your little mascot for your company. And speaking of, you
His
know,
name's Pork Chop.
oh yes, pork chop.
You'll have to put him up where we can all see him. Some we'll have to watch the program once you put it out on the air, huh? Just take a look at Pork Chop.
Yeah, and so speaking of, I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to talk with Tony and talk about this the decorative concrete that he does. Decorative concrete can be used for floors or for countertops. I mean, he's got some pictures here. I'm going to kind of to show the people, and I'll go back through them later. But I got a kitchen here that's got the that's you know, here we go. Here's a kitchen, and all those countertops are concrete. And so, I mean, this is something that people are using. They're finding it's easy to clean, and it's got all these benefits. But, excuse me, Deb talked to him and has been working with him on coming on the show. And so I'm going to turn this over to her because she's going to be, she knows a lot about people that do remodeling and things like that because she has several clients that are in that business. And so she spent some time with Tony. So I'm going to pass this over to Deb Durkee, and I'm going to put the two of you up, Deb.
Yeah, I was just trying to get the pictures up. So Tony, why don't you tell us a little bit about your company, the name, and your website and so forth?
yeah, it's again, my name's Tony Dierolf. I'm the owner of AS Dierolf Concrete. I've been in business for 15 years now. It's kind of a unique story to how I started 15 years ago. I mean, at the time I was married, and my ex-wife was pregnant, about to have my first child, and I took a leave from my current job. I was working for a general contractor at the time, and I took a absence of leave to help my ex-wife out with the child once she was born. And during that process, I got a phone call from my ex-boss, and because I was off for 2 weeks, and he called me and says, "We need you back, you know, business, things of that nature." And I'm like, "Well, I can't, you know, at that moment I had a newborn, I mean 2 to 3 days old or something like that." And once I told him I couldn't come back until I took 2 weeks off. I'd been currently employed with this company for 5 to 6 years, so I kind of feel like I was due for 2 weeks off, you know, to help my ex-wife. And so he began to doing, I guess, what maybe not all, but most do. What have you done? We need you back. You know, work's more important, yada, yada, yada. And at that moment, juncture in my life, I kind of, it's like, wow, okay, I've given all this time to this company, and this is how I get treated. And my ex had been pushing me for years anyway to jump out here and you can do this, you can do this. Well, 2 week old infant, and I go out and start trying to sell some jobs. Well, and behold, I contacted somebody that actually told me at one time if I was ever interested in doing it on my own to call him. So I called him. He had actually a couple of jobs for me to bid. I bid the projects for him. He ended up saying, well, the next day, pretty much, when could you start? Well, I'm currently employed with another company at the moment on 2 weeks maternity leave here, and was kind of like what we were talking about a while ago. What do you do when you're actually faced with the reality, when it hits you in the face? So it was either sink or swim. So me and my ex-wife had a lengthy discussion and really talked about it and was like, okay, it's either do or die. So with a 2-week newborn, I started AS Dierolf Concrete and been in business for the last 15 years. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Good
That's a
story.
great story.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
That's either a
I
do
know
or die
Roger
right
loves
there.
the personal stories.
Yeah.
Well,
So that's been my motivation. My daughters actually, I have two. My first one is turning 15 years old this year, so that's where I'm getting the 15 years in business from. So she's been my motivation for 15 years, and now there's another one behind her. She has a 9-year-old sister, so that constitutes another 25 years of having a
Uh-oh.
just to feed them to. So, but
great.
that's pretty much how it started. I mean, honestly, it was just it's having a newborn, looking there at his face, knowing whether if you don't make this success, then you have a bigger responsibility now other than yourself. So it's been my motivation for the last 15 years. I can tell you that.
And I met Tony networking. He was out there when I met him at, I believe, Dreamweaver's mixer.
NetWeavers, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, Dreamweavers. That's my website software. Yes, you can tell when I'm not multitasking. Yes,
Yeah,
the NetWeavers, and that was Jeff McKissick's group. And so, yeah, and I just think that the decorative concrete is really a neat idea. And I know that Deb's talking about it, but isn't it? How's it more? I know it's more economical. Isn't that correct? I mean, it's more than. And what do people normally do with it? You know, I mean, you've got the way it looked, but it really is economical. And so, how can it?
You know, I think Tony's told me that there's of high-end floor treatments that his decorative concrete is a very economical choice in a high-end because it's a very beautiful treatment of the floors. So, could you go into that a little bit, Tony?
Yeah, I mean, I have a customer. I have a perfect example. I have a customer perfect example in Grand Prairie. They called me out and to bid to their project. They had an existing patio, and they had the standard, which 95% of the people have this, where the builder goes out and pours a patio on the back of the house, and it's usually anywhere from a 5 by 10 or a 10 by 10 patio, which barely gets you a table and some chairs on, and then you don't even have sitting room. So everybody naturally expands that concrete area to make it a bigger area. And that's the case point here. Mr. Mendoza had an existing patio, used another concrete company to pour a patio bigger, and decided, well, he had the old concrete and the new concrete, so naturally he had two different colors. So he wasn't happy with that. The look of new concrete versus old concrete. One was dingy and one was whiter and prettier. So he calls us out because he wants them to look uniform. And he had priced. He had gotten some other prices on natural stone products. Slate, flagstone, things of that nature. So he already had those. He's been doing his homework. So he already had those prices and quotes ready. So he got to looking at decorative concrete and decided to price that and see how that looked. He calls me out. I bid the job, and he had done his homework. He had checked out my website, called my testimonials, looked us up at the Better Business Bureau, and did his background checks. And he liked everything he said about me when he met me. And he called several other concrete companies, and I'm just kind of sharing this point because I found it really ironic. Naturally, everybody gets about 3 bids. Well, he called 2 to 3 other companies out, and ironically, nobody showed up. So I found that. But I hear that quite often, either if they show up or they show up a week later, some things like that. So anyway, Mr. Mendoza, we ended up coming to agreement. He was happy with the price, and we ended up doing the project. And so through the course of the project, I'm very hands-on with my customers. I'm involved on the jobs daily and communicate with my customers on a daily basis. And so through the courses, I got to talking with Mr. Mendoza and asked him, I said, so if you don't mind, now that I'm doing the project, how is my price in comparison to the other quotes you got? And that's when he of course told me, well, I called other concrete guys, but they didn't come out and quote it. So the only thing he could give me in comparison was natural stone, like slate, was one of the products he was going to use. And so, all that being said, he told me I was 40 to 50% less than a slate or stone product.
And I think I've got a picture here of something that it kind of got maybe that slate look. Now this is the one that's got the furniture in it, Tony, the couches, and it's not on a wood-looking floor. It's got the circle in the middle, and I'm going to transition over to it. And you've seen this one before. Is that kind of what you're talking about?
That is a seamless slate that doesn't have any joints in it, or if the joints are there, they're minimal.
Okay.
You kind of want to watch what you're doing. Every application is a little bit different. You know, the photo that you're showing is actually an interior application, so you want to minimize your.
Isn't that
you want to
beautiful?
minimize your joints on an interior finish because you don't want to collect things like dirt and stuff like that inside those joints. So every application has its.
Yeah, and then I have one of the
patio.
I don't have a patio picture, but I have one of the hallway that is I thought was really nice. Now I'm not going to show the before because I thought I'm just going to show the after. But I guess I could show the before, but no, I'm not going to. Here's the after, and it looks like stone's laid down. And this is that hallway, Tony. So it does have seams in it, so you can actually put those in there.
I put those in there myself. But there again, I minimized them. They're not deep. They're just cosmetic. So they're lightly put down in there. They don't have a very deep groove in them. So as far as when you're sweeping or mopping, you're able to pick up. You don't collect stuff in them. Yes.
And then
Do you have the one of him and pork chop on the floor?
yeah, and I showed that a while ago, but I'm going to put that in here because it is a cute picture.
That's right. You did that.
There he is. There's pork chop and him sitting on the floor, and that is that looks very much like a wood floor. And I've got another picture of his that does that, but that is what you can do. What the finished look, because as people were talking, I want them to have an idea. I'm going to show the wood floor that,
and
a close-up.
You know,
I've got
it's
that
remarkable
close-up.
that it's 40 to 50% less
Yes.
than the other floors.
And you've got no grout you have to do or anything like that. And
Right, and the beauty behind it is I mean, you get to do this with some products, but not as much as you can with us. The real selling point to me behind all this is you get to customize the whole process. You get to pick your pattern, you get to pick your texture, and most importantly, you get to pick your colors. So when you're in there trying to match your drapes or you're painting on your wall or whatever, when you're standing there at the slate or the stone store or wherever, you're having to match to an existing product. In my case, I'm color matching to your product. You know, we can color match just like any paint supply can.
well, and I've got one here that's got a fireplace in it, and here is the thing. I mean, that looks like such a wood floor. It's unbelievable. And then I wanted to, I don't think I have I don't want to show, I wanted to show where he's working on it. I've got it, I've got one where he's doing the work on it, making the planks.
Okay,
And
so while you're looking that up, I have a question.
Okay.
Tony, now you put this down over existing concrete.
Yes, it can be done one of two ways. Mostly what we're talking about here today is what we call a concrete overlay.
Okay.
Where you have an existing foundation such as your house or a patio outside or a pool deck or any surface, naturally, a driveway. Anything that where you're tired of looking at your existing surface, you're tired of the finish that you've had. Most people, for instance, what we call a finish of exposed concrete. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that, but that's the one that the little brown rocks. It's the pea gravel look.
Yeah, I had that
So that's-
driveway once.
Yeah, most of it's on a driveway, and a lot of times it's around a pool deck.